This episode is brought to you by Sword Tiling, lead tiling specialists in the Northeast. Covering all aspects, including commercial and domestic, they've got you covered. So head to sword_tiling on Instagram and tell them St. James's Pod sent you. Welcome back to St. James's Pod. Today we're previewing Fulham as they come to St. James's Park in the league, and it's our first game back after the 2 cup games, which saw us reach the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. Still absolutely buzzing about that. I'm joined again by Pete, Alex, and Joe's back again in place for Tom. Let's get straight into this one, alright? So, we're at home.
Head you out.
Is there a chance that the atmosphere is going to be a bit of a hangover from the cup game, or do you think it's going to be absolutely rocking again?
Yeah, it'll be the standard, I think. I don't think it'll be the same as normal. It's always good. It's always a good atmosphere. I think it'll be a good atmosphere. Sunday, 2 o'clock, be a few people are on the bevies. So, it'll be a good atmosphere. Pretty standard. It's not a special occasion, so... the Prem games are always a good atmosphere, so, yeah.
I reckon, just like the Mega Mix from Dixie Chicken, it's always good.
I
can't see there being a hangover. I think we'll be ready for it, up for it. Obviously Fulham are in good form, so it should be a good game. Hopefully not too good for them. It could even be a top 6 clash come full time in this Fulham Chelsea game.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, speaking of that, do you want to just talk to us about the form coming into the game, though?
Hi, they're in really good form. So they beat Hull 2-0 in the FA Cup, so they're doing better than us in that competition. But then before that, they've got wins on the road against Leicester and Palace, where they've kept clean sheets, and then they've beat Southampton at home. So that's since the restart. So they're in really good form. I don't think you take a lot into the defeats to Man U and Man City before the World Cup. But yeah, all 4 games since the World Cup, they've won them all. And yeah, currently the 7th in the league, and I think at the moment they're beating Chelsea 2-1 in the league as well, so they could be moving even higher and a bit closer to us. So it should be a good game on Sunday. Obviously back in October we smashed them at their place, but they did get an early red card in that one. Nathaniel Chalobah got sent off, I think, in the first 10 minutes at their place, and ended up absolutely battering them. Naturally, we brought the cells on late and conceded. It was a comfortable 4-1 win in the end. So I think we can go into this game with a bit of confidence, despite Mitrović having a bit of a rest because he's had a 5 yellow card ban tonight against Chelsea. So he'll be raring to go, and obviously he'll get a nice reception from the crowd, no doubt, as well.
Oh, 100%.
Do you think you'll get a good reception?
Aye, definitely.
But when we played Fulham under Rafa, the last game of the season 3 years ago, whatever it was, he was getting booed. Touched the ball and he was getting booed. He didn't like it either. I hope he doesn't get booed. I really hope he doesn't. But he was getting booed. But I mean, it did end up that we were singing his name. We did batter them 5-0 or 4. Was it 4-0? 5-0? I don't know. I can't remember. But they did end up singing his name. But it was actually wasn't really nice to say, actually, because he was getting booed and he turned around and looked at us as if to say, like, "Oh, wait, man, why are you booing us?" Which, I mean, I wasn't. It was only like a small. There's no reason now. He wanted to play for us. We sold him. Like, he loved the tune, but it'll be a big shame if he gets booed. But knowing our fans, there will be a section that boos him. But
yeah,
I don't believe it should.
When former players comes and play at St. James's Park, they seem to get booed no matter what. Like, whether they're wanting to leave or not, whether they've been like a good servant or not, there's always a section of the crowd that gives them a poor reception, which I think bar Tim Krul, I think pretty much everyone who comes gets a few pelters from the crowd.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he scores against us. But I'll imagine you get a good reception by that. But he's been in good scoring form, hasn't he, Alex?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Everyone expected him to not play after the World Cup because I think he was carrying a knock. And then he comes back, and I think he scored in 2 out of his first 3 Premier League games back. So he is in good form as always. And to be fair, on the season, he's in fantastic form as well. He's been absolutely banging them. Like, I know a lot of people have said when Fulham have came up to the Premier League in the past that like he's not quite a Premier League level, but he's like too good for the Championship. But I think this time coming back up, I think he's proven to everyone really that he deserves to be here and he belongs here. He scored 11 goals in 15 games in the league, man. It's ridiculous.
He has been banging them in for fun. Like,
ridiculous form.
It's good to see, to be fair, because we sort of knew that he had it in him, but you just wanted him to take that little bit of a leap and just to establish himself, and he has. And it is good to see, like, because we all love Mitro. Like, we love him. He's so passionate. He's such a passionate player, and it's good to see him doing well. But like you say, you just hope he doesn't get a sniff against us. Like,
he was just so fresh, wasn't he? He was just like he was young. He was a bit of a hot head. You could tell exactly what player in him, and and obviously when we were in the Championship, he was like fantastic. But I think it's shown that it was just a bit too early for him starting for Newcastle in the Premier League at that time.
So I think he's a much better finisher now and can score different types of goals. Whereas for us, it was pretty one dimensional. He's a much better player now.
Have you seen this about Joe Linton getting arrested for drink driving?
Oh,
aye. 1 o'clock this morning.
Early hours.
On the session, were you watching the draw last night? Buzzing there, we got Southampton.
That's not good news, is it?
No, it's not.
It's not a good look.
It's definitely not a good look. It's a bad move. That like, you should get some sort of discipline. Like,
you will do. Like, Howe will have a word with him. Like, the club will have a word with him. Like, there will be like strong words. But like, it's just over and over again. You see footballers, multi-millionaires, getting done for drink driving.
Just think they can get away with it.
Beggars belief.
The one thing is, though, it is interesting thinking where is he? Sort of at 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, I know he gets his own time and all that, but he's on the drink at 1 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday night. It's a bit like, what's he doing? But for all we know, it could have been his missus' birthday. You'll never know. But hopefully, he wasn't that far over the limit. I mean, there's no excuse for being over the limit anyway, but hopefully he's a tiny bit over the limit or something like that, you know what I mean? It's still no, it's not trying to justify it, but, you know.
You reckon there's a chance he'll miss the game? Like he'll get disciplined to the fact that, to the point that
it would be internal discipline, wouldn't it?
You'd like to think it'd be internal discipline.
I can see it happening. Yeah. I don't think like the Premier League will do anything that quick, but I think there's a chance that, you know, like Eddie Howe obviously like.
Can the Premier League step in though?
I've never seen them do it before with drink driving cases. It's always been left to the clubs.
Yeah, it's literally outside of. It's got nothing to do with football. He's not breaking any rules. He's breaking the law. He's not breaking any Premier League rules or nothing like that, is he? Fair enough if he was drinking, if he was turning up to the match pissed and failing urine samples, but he's not. It's not nothing to do with that.
I think Newcastle could argue that it looks bad on like them as a club and them as an employer could fine their employee for that or something like that. So I think something will happen, whether it's a fine or whether he does sit out on Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised because obviously it's bang out of order. Like,
they've got to do something, don't they?
Like, he needs to be set an example of that. You can't do that in Newcastle. Like,
so, and we've got options as well for the left wing. So you've got Maxi back, you've got Isak coming back fit. So it's not like we don't have options to replace him. So could be that Eddie Howe decides make an example.
You could drop Willock into Joe Linton's position.
Wouldn't be the worst idea in the world, I don't think.
However,
if you don't discipline him and it's not known, the club will get battered for it.
Yeah, like it could just be a hefty fine and then he plays him. But I guess we'll see. Getting back onto Mitro though, you're saying about people talking about his level, whether he was just too good for the Championship. I think a lot of people kind of thought his failings in the Premier League were down to the team he was playing for. Like, you think when he was with us, obviously he was young and raw, but also like we weren't very good.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he's like coming up with Fulham, you wouldn't expect Fulham to be up where they are and playing as well as you are. So I think a lot of people expect him to go to like a bigger club and then see what he does at a better level. But I don't
Fulham
really see any need
to
move away. Yeah, well, they're flying, aren't they? So
yeah, they've invested a bit of money.
They're obviously playing Chelsea
so.
tonight, and they're ahead of them in the league as well.
Yeah, exactly. Seventh? Does that take them any higher up the league, that win tonight?
I don't think I'll take them above Liverpool, I think.
Are they still playing? Is it finished? Or?
Yeah, 2 minutes to go.
They'll be level on points with Liverpool,
sixth place, yeah.
Liverpool got a game in hand. What am I looking at before the...
Yeah, no, so there'll be 3 points out of Liverpool. Liverpool will have 2 games in hand after today.
Yeah.
But still, that's ridiculous for Fulham, who've just came up to be in 6th place at this point of the season. It's outrageous.
I
think there'll definitely be goals in the game. I mean, they've conceded 28, scored 32, so 60 goals in 19 games. It's definitely going to be goals.
Yeah. It's good that Isak's going to have a few minutes in the tank as well, so that'll help. Bit more match sharpness.
He's been looking lively, so hopefully if he starts, especially, we'll see the best of him. In terms of head-to-heads, we've played 31 times. We've won 12, they've won 14, and we've had 5 draws. We're currently 3rd position, and obviously, depending on tonight's result, they're either 6th or 7th. Looking like it's going to be 6th. So they're actually only like about 4 points behind us if they win this. Which is mad when you think
that's outrageous.
Like how good of a season we're having. And then we'll only be 4 points behind. I've got some other stats on Fulham as well. So far, apart from the game they're playing right now, they've won 8, drawn 4, lost 6. Joel, you just mentioned that they're scoring a lot of goals, but they are conceding a lot of goals. And their goal difference is obviously it's sat at 3 before this game, so it could be 4. And ours is plus 21. Our expected goals is this is Fulham's expected goals are 25.4, expected goals against 30.2, and expected goals per 90. Expected goal difference per 90 for us is plus 0.72, and theirs is minus 0.27. So, statistically, when you're looking at it, you'd say that the stats are in our favour, but obviously, with them being on a good run at the moment, the form might come into it. We're in decent form, but in the league we've drawn the last 2. And this could push them onto 4 wins on the bounce in the Premier League. And who scored for them tonight? Do we know?
Vinicius.
Willian scored the first one. And
Vinicius scored the other.
Carlos Vinicius. Yeah, so the strikers came in. Basically, the last 2 games they've had, the last Premier League game they've had, they've kept the same lineup for Chelsea, apart from Mitrović, who's got the ban, and then Carlos Vinicius, who's came in for him, then bagged the goal. So, yeah, Willian against his former club and the former Tottenham man, getting them the lead, and I think it's just about full time now. So, even with João Felix getting sent off in his first game for a naughty little tackle.
That was bad tackle. Mitrović is their top goal scorer, like we're talking about. He's got 11 so far. Do you imagine he'll come straight back in after his ban?
Yeah, I think Miro definitely comes straight back in. I think scoring, what did you say, Alex? Like 11 goals. Yeah, so 11 out of their 28 goals. So he's got, 40%? I think that's a no-brainer, to be honest.
Yeah. Anyone else think they got a chance of keeping the spot after scoring tonight?
Fucking no chance.
No.
Absolutely no chance. Mitrović against us, nah, he's coming straight back in, no doubt.
Do you think that have any fear about his sort of hot-headedness still, or do you think he's got that way under control now?
It's definitely a lot more under control. Compared to what it used to be, it's a lot more under control. But the atmosphere might rile him up. Not that it's going to be hostile for him, but he might just get psyched up. Look at Bruno, the game against Leicester. That was getting heated. A couple of nasty challenges, and that could psych him up a bit. So you never know. But I do think he's toned that right down compared to what he used to be like.
I imagine a tasty game like it was the other day, with challenges flying in and referee not quite having control of the game, and Bruno's up in his face and Joe Linton's up in his face. He'll easily lose his head. And to be fair, so good off players.
Yeah, exactly. It seems like most of his suspensions recently have been just through accumulating yellow cards, not specifically reds. But I don't know if we're getting onto the ref later, but he likes a yellow card by the looks of it. So I wouldn't be surprised. Robert Jones. So he was the ref for when we beat Chelsea just before the World Cup, and there was 7 yellow cards in that game.
Oh Jesus!
So
absolute card fest.
Likes a card. Yeah. Get overs on the cards.
Aye.
The Chelsea game the other day in the cup.
It'll be interesting to see how our defence handles Mitro, because he's a different type of centre forward, isn't he, to most of us in the league.
Physical, isn't he?
A lot more physical. And obviously Shaw gets a head injury every game, so
yeah. Botman, I think Botman can deal with him. To be fair to Botman, he's a big, strong lad as well. He's quick on his feet. I think Botman would cope with him. But we've got Dan Burn as well.
I mentioned earlier, before the preview on the away leg, that he was peeling off onto the fullbacks a lot. Obviously, I mentioned the goal that he scored against Trent in the first game of the season, where he peeled off on the back and targeted the fullback. You'd say he's probably going to target Trippier if he's going to do that, because you got Big Dan Burn one side. Not that you can head the ball particularly well, but when teams have got goal kicks and stuff like that, they always seem to target Trippier to try and beat him in the air. So I could see him peeling off on Trippier all the time. That's probably what he's going to try.
You'd like to think Trippier knows how to deal with that situation, though, because he'll had it for that much. He'll know just to drop off a little bit and wait for the second ball or whatever. I know what you're saying, but it's hard to pick to say, this might happen, that might happen, when we've got the best defence in the league. You know what I mean? We've coped with everything so far. So is it the last 6 games we had 6 clean, or Premier League games we had 6 clean sheets? Is it 6 games or 7 games? Not sure. 6 or 7 of our clean sheets. 6. Aye. Yeah, I think so. I don't think there's anything necessarily for it to worry about. He's a big lad. He's a big unit, but we've got big lads and big units in defence. We can go man for man, in my opinion. We've got even big Joe Linton up. Mitrović is no doubt going to have to come a bit deep to get the ball. And we've got Sean and Joe Linton in the middle. They're big lads. So I don't think we necessarily need to worry. We don't need to put the ball in the net, but I don't think we need to worry that much.
Yeah, I think like you say as well with him, if he does kind of target the fullbacks, we are very good at covering the fullbacks as well. With Joe Linton covering Dan Burn, he's not going to get that much joy physically out of them too. It might be more that Trippier side with Longstaff covering Trippier. he's good at tackling, and he is a big lad, Sean Longstaff, but he might get a bit more joy physically down that side. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, I guess. Is there any players on our side that you think might come in? Or do you think it will just be the standard starting 11 that we see in the Premier League?
Standard for me.
Yeah, no reason to change.
Unless Jordan gets taken out for disciplinary reasons, we'll start with the same side. That start.
You don't think there's any chance of Isak getting a start?
Nah, not yet. Not yet.
No.
Wilson's been rested for was it 2 games before?
The FA Cup
he got rested for the Sheffield one. And was he not rested the game before?
He had a bit of illness, didn't he?
Yeah, he had illness. Leeds.
New Year's Eve against Leeds.
Arsenal.
I can't remember. But he hasn't played. I don't think he's played loads of minutes, so I think Wilson will be on me. I think he'll be fine. I think you could still see it in the last game, Ronald Wilson. I think you could still see it in the game against Leicester that he still wasn't 100% on it.
Game, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't think he was on like on the edge of his game. I think he'll come back in. I think he'll be fine. It's really good that we've got Isak back on the bench now. Instead of Wood going off, Wilson going off and Wood coming on, and being like, we're gonna have to hold on to this. We've actually got Isak coming on. It's like, fucking get in.
So
yeah. I think at this stage in the season as well, we don't need to change the starting 11 like a winning formula. I think later on we do. I think you can't just keep playing the same 11 all the time. This is where your squad's got to come into it, and that might be our downfall for later on in the season a little bit. But I think for now you got to just ride the wave and just pick the same team really.
If we can get like you're saying, we can't have the starting 11. But luckily it's January now. If we can get that centre mid that we've been talking about, if we can get a centre mid in, that leaves, for example, a good centre mid, i.e., for example, Tielemans, Maxi, and Isak on the bench. They're 3 class players that we'd have on the bench to bring on later on in the game. So that would be so if we manage to sign that centre mid, that would be huge. I think really huge.
You forgot Jacob Murphy.
Oh shit! I forgot about
that. Yeah.
What am I talking about?
It's nice to have difference makers off the bench as opposed to just bringing someone on because someone's tired or a bit leggy or Miggy's run himself into the ground and you've got to bring Murphy on. These can actually make a difference when they come on. St. Maximan against tired legs can cause problems. This is a nice problem to have. Even discussing the fact that Wilson could be dropped when he's not injured.
I know, yeah.
And Maxi bringing him on, you would talk about that 6 months ago. He was always player.
They're obviously 2 attacking players. If we can get that one person just to go in the middle of the pitch, that would be a colossal difference, that, for me.
Yeah. I'd love to see us bring in a proper 6, though. Hey.
For a small man.
Hey, there it is.
Fucking hell. I think for me, though, in terms of the striker position, I think it's up for grabs this week. I think it depends on how well they train, what the training's like throughout the week. Because we've seen...
Well, you really think Isak's fit enough to jump in against Fulham?
I think it depends on this week. If he shows enough in training, I think he could be in with a shout. Because, as you say, Wilson didn't exactly look at 100%. So neither of them are at 100%. And then, obviously, Chris Wood probably not going to get a game. So,
to be fair,
that was Eddie Howe. If you know Eddie Howe, he doesn't like to change a winning team. And he doesn't, when we're winning or doing all right, he doesn't like to change anyone, really. Even if they haven't had a great game. He done that with Longstaff when he had a couple of poor games. But we were still winning. Kept him in the side, and he just rode the wave, and he's been class lately.
You make a point that about if you did start Isak, and obviously if you gave him, I don't know, 50, 60 minutes but in a push 60 minutes, I think he'd get. Wilson comes on fresh as a daisy for half an hour, and he could actually run their defence absolutely ragged. So it could work either way. Like I do think Wilson will start, but it's not a bad problem to have, is it?
Definitely.
No, definitely not. You know, it should hopefully push them both as well, because they'll be wanting that starting position. So, yeah. Was there some other Fulham players you wanted to just highlight before we move away from the Fulham game?
Well, one of their best players this season has been Paulina. Like, he's been the best player bringing. Like, he's like proper. Like, he does everything. Like, he's like a proper number 6, but he makes tackles. Like, he breaks play up. He like advances play. He's got like big long legs. Like, he's just a problem player to have in the centre of midfield. Like, I think he could cause problems trying to like break our play down and stuff like that. Like, he knows how to make clever tackles as well, clever fouls. So that's one guy who I think he missed the last game against us. I think he might have had a knock, or he might have picked up 5 yellow cards or something.
Yeah, he missed it.
So yeah, he's back in. He's playing well. So I expect Fulham to be a bit better. I don't expect a 4-1 walkover, even though we're playing at our place. But yeah, they seem to have a pretty settled side at the moment. I think Silva seems to know his best 11. So yeah, I'm expecting a tough game, to be honest.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's going to be a very tough game. I think it might be one of the toughest games we've seen at St James's for a while.
Yeah, if you look at like the Chelsea game, I could see it being a bit tight like that. Like, even like Andreas Pereira, who's came in from Man U, like, he's never really got his chance there, and everyone was like, "Wait, he's like not knowing what he's going to be like." And he's flourished as a number 10, and he's like, again, he's a problem player. He'll sit like in between the midfield and defence and just cause the problems. And he'll look for the runs from Mito. He's been linking up really well. So yeah, like, I think obviously, like, you can call them the big 6 or whatever, but like, they're gonna be there in 6th place now. If they beat we're the 1 point behind we're like, they're no mugs by any stretch. So yeah, expecting a really tough game.
Has that game against Chelsea finished now?
It's 2-1 full time.
You got to think as well, though. We're obviously, you're saying they're going to come and give away a game at St James's. Other teams have not been able to cope with our intensity at home. So we could be sort of, what's the word? Not put themselves down a bit, but like we need to remember how well we play at home, how the atmosphere will affect the game like it always does. They could well not be able to cope with our intensity at home, like 100%. So they are playing well. But I think
against
better.
the press. Against the press, they seem to be in close games. So if you think like City pressed the ball quite well, Arsenal have been this season. Lost both them games 2-1. So it's like they're definitely staying in the games. And I think we do the press as well as anyone in the league.
Yeah.
So I think it'll follow, a similar suit.
Yeah, and I was just going to mention on our style, because we kind of adapted it against Arsenal in the last league game. But I imagine, especially being at home, we'll be back to our usual Eddie Howe style playing of football.
I'd like to think so, because that was a tough watch against Arsenal. Even just from a spectator point of view, I don't want to sit through that again.
Nah. Scrappy is out there.
Scrappy is out, and then we've got a thing for time wasting as well, which we've done a few times.
I hate watching that. Nah, it's horrible to watch that. Like,
yeah. It was. I remember when we done it against Liverpool, and when they scored right at the end,
it just came out to bite with.
In my opinion, yeah, we got what we deserved, really.
Yeah, it definitely came back to bite with. Like, But I know every club does it, but I feel like the way that we're playing, fair enough if we're fighting, if we're a bag of shit team fighting for survival at the bottom, doing literally anything to try and salvage a point. But we're not. We're battering teams. We're playing well. We don't need to do that. Like, as long as we play our game, there's not more you can ask for. But we need to do it. It is annoying when you see.
Yeah. I'm going to play devil's advocate.
And you see, you
played 2 games this season. Away to Liverpool, away to Arsenal. They're the only times we've played like that this season. You could argue against Man U, but I think we try to take the game to them like first half. But what we've done is we've went to the Emirates. Arsenal have scored in every single game this season, bar none. We've shut them out. They've won every single game at the Emirates, and we've went and got a point. Like,
yeah, it's very true.
Say what you want about like time wasting the tactics. It is horrible to watch, but we went in and got a point. Like,
by the end of the day, we're getting a point. It all adds up. But like we say, it is shit to watch, isn't it? And then to see we're just getting slagged off all the time for time wasting. We aren't the only team that does it. But because we're high up the league, it's getting noticed a lot. Well, when we do it, it gets noticed a lot.
Yeah, when we went down to Liverpool, though, it's not like we came out like that. We came out and we went at them. We went to give them a game first half, went 1-0 up,
definitely.
And could have arguably went 2-0 up, depending on where the VAR guys drew the little fucking dotted lines. So it's not like we turned up at Anfield to put 11 men behind the ball and defend. We didn't. It's when it started to get away from in the second half, like sort of on like 50, 60 minutes, where we're like, right, actually, we're going to change the style of play. We're going to play on the counter a bit more, and we're going to sit in. And teams fucking hate it. Yeah, it did bite when they asked then, but come on, like, it went to 98 minutes. Like, you can't argue going to Anfield and getting beat in the 98th minute. Like, we kind of go toe-to-toe with everyone and could get turned over. Like, we don't want to be going there trying to play them at their own game and just getting battered on the counter or something like that. You've got to play clever, box clever, and get the points where you can, even if it is an ugly result, like a couple of times a season. Like if we turn up at City at their place and we like properly go at them, we'll absolutely fucking murder us. Like, I know we are very good. Yeah, but they're even better.
Well, it's just like Eddie Howe said, isn't it? We're not here to make friends, we're here to compete.
Exactly, right. So, and I love that.
One for all.
You've got to remember as well, this is like so early on in our development. Like, maybe next season when the squad's a bit deeper, could start 11 could even be slightly better. Season after that, you know, once we're playing regular Champions League football, then I think we can start to be a bit more picky. But I think, as Alex says, like, especially where we're doing it and when we're doing it,
it's been 1 year.
Person, but
it doesn't feel like it's been 1 year, mine, does it? It feels like it's been at least 2 years that would be like this. It's like we've skipped a phase. We've skipped the phase of where we just sort of steady the ship, and now we're just fucking world class.
The Robinhos and Aleksandar Mitrović.
Not to get excited.
But do you think that's partly because we actually already had that sort of level player at the club? It was just that they were so badly coached and so low on confidence. Well. We didn't need to sign these sort of mid-level. And then the recruitment has been quality since they've come in. And speaking of recruitment, actually, I wanted to pick up on a couple of the transfer rumours that are floating around again. We'll get your take on these. First one is a striker that I'm not really that familiar with. I think a couple of you might be. It's the young 18-year-old who plays for Dortmund and the German national team. Is it Makoko? Is that what you say, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I consider myself as a football manager player myself, so I've heard of him for quite a while now. But honestly, I haven't seen him play much, I'm not going to lie. I know him because he's a fucking beast on Football Manager, and more often than not, they've done the homework and they get it right. And to be fair, Dortmund do the homework and get it right.
Yeah.
So if Dortmund want to play that much,
he's also out of contract.
Well, that's why we're getting linked with him, because I think Dortmund wouldn't really want to let him go. He hasn't quite hit the ground running in the first team like he could have, but he's 18 years old. If you look at how many goals he scored in like the under-21s and stuff like that against, and the German youth setup is fucking ridiculous. It's class from like all the way up. The fact that he's like banged in, I think it's about at least a goal a game for like under-21s. Like it shows he's got so much talent at 18 years old. Like if we could get him, I think it would be an absolute steal. And then have him learning.
Type of player we need in the squad, like we said earlier, like having them youngsters, bringing them on instead of Chris Woods.
Yeah,
that's kind of the next stage, therefore.
Let Chris Wood go back to Leeds or something. They need a striker.
Yeah, I'll drive him.
Yeah, you'd much rather. You'd much rather.
I leave he's probably getting the wrong car.
He'd shoot the wrong way up the A1.
But I think I'll slate him or anything, but
it's not the slate him,
No, but I think that's the perfect sign that when he's like his contract's running down, get him on cheap, and he's young.
Mm-hmm.
You can't lose in that situation because you're never going to spend a lot of money. You're never going to give him a massive wage, so you literally can't lose. And you get Chris Wood out of the club.
He's out of contract in the summer, is he?
Aye, 6. But so we can discuss a contract with him now.
Yeah,
I believe Dortmund are working, like Dawson says, they don't want to let him go. I think they are working on something to keep him at the club.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good sign as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the other player, this has resurfaced a bit in the last sort of 24 hours, is Pulisic from Chelsea.
Injured.
I believe he's...
He's out for 3 months, right?
Is he?
Yeah.
So I wonder if this is more for the... I wonder if this is
that conversation, Sam.
Good research, Sam.
I hope you've got a third transfer rumour here.
I can cut that out and just make one up if you want.
No, leave it in. It's funny.
No, I think there's a conversation on Pulisic anyway. I've always fancied him at the team, but obviously this season, I think for January,
he's getting more and more injury prone, isn't he?
Yeah, it's mad though, 'cause he's only 24.
Mm-hmm.
He looked class for USA, but he's not really getting his opportunities at Chelsea. And then when he does play a couple of games, he gets injured.
Yeah. Is his preferred position right wing as well, or does he prefer the left?
I think he can play either.
Because he's right footed.
Yeah.
Which in an Eddie Howe side, he likes inverted wingers, so if he prefers the right wing, he's not really going to want to play him on the right wing. You want to play him on the left. So, yeah, as you say, if he's injured for that long, then there's no chance of January. But
the young right back for is it Real? I never pronounce it. Valladolid. I can never pronounce it.
Perfect Spanish, mate. Perfect.
I know, well, this is it, mate. Second language. I can't remember his name. He's a new upcoming right back.
It's gone a bit quiet on him, though, hasn't it?
Yeah, it was like last week or something. Last week the rumours were kicking off because I believe he might be out. I don't know if he's out of contract as well, but I think his manager spoke very highly of him, and especially he highlighted the games against like Real Madrid and stuff like that where he played very well, and I think he was surprised at why a lot more big European teams haven't been in for him. And I think it's going to be obviously to take over Trippier when he's because he's obviously hasn't got that many years left in him. So which is it's good that yes, that's him, mate. Fresneda.
That's what we need, though, isn't it? Is like we need a good youngster that has got potential that we can bring on over the next couple of years, because we've also got Kraft. He's obviously probably not going to play at all this season, but we do have a decent second choice right back in the squad. So we're not really looking for someone who can.
I was going to say Dan Ashworth talked about this, didn't he? At the Leicester game, he spoke to Given and that on it, and he highlighted the fact that we want to bring in young players into the team ones that can't sort of affect the financial fair play. He wants to bring young players in to build the squad for the future. Which is great, really, isn't it? Because our academy's been pissed poor for years and years and years. We haven't really had an academy, so for we focusing on that, obviously great news. Going after emerging young talent. I mean, Christ, look at Sven Botman. I know he's 22 now. 22, maybe 23 actually. Yeah. Happy birthday, Sven.
I want to say happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Sven.
So it's definitely something new for us, and exciting, to be honest, to see the young talent, especially European talent, coming through. You never know what they could be. They could be a flop. They could be an absolute wonder kid. And we're not a stepping stone club anymore. So they could be here for quite a few years.
Definitely. And you're not likely to lose money on them either, so...
No.
It seems like...
Unless it's Jamal Lewis.
We're not putting him in the conversation of young wonder kid European talent, please.
Oh, winding Pete up again. You're not going to slate him, but...
I'm not going to fucking slate him.
Right, well, I think on that we'll wrap this one up. So we're going to need a prediction for the game from everyone. I'm going to go first and go 2-1 to Newcastle.
I'll jump in
Alex,
and hit
what's your prediction?
2-0 to Toon.
All right, Pete 2-0. So another clean sheet.
I was going to go 2-0 as well.
Oof.
Another clean sheet.
If mine are Paige's guesses, I'll go like 4-1 Fulham. But just fuck them up.
We'll just batter him.
Yeah, I don't know if you're doing like a score predictor or what, but I was going to go 2-1 as well, but I'll change it up. I'll go 3-1.
3-1.
Goals.
Well, again, we're very confident based on those predictions.
Of course we are.
I do feel like it's going to be a tight game, but it should be a good game as well. And what time did you say kick-off was, Pete? Is it 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock, mate. 2 o'clock kick-off, aye.
Awesome, so that's midnight.
Oh.
I'll be turning up with a hangover.
Dry John. He's got news, but I'm off the beer for a little bit, mate.
How many pints did we have in Sheffield?
I know.
Not very dry January.
I know, this is it. Dry rest of January. Depends what time we get there. If it's time, we might have a little swift.
Already you turning.
Sundays, mate. Sundays are for the boys.
They always have been.
Well, this is it.
Always
this
will
is
be.
it. I am driving though, so it'll be 1.
Just do the Joe Linton.
Joe Linton, 5 and 5.
I love that they put in the paper. They put Joe Cassio of Ponteland, as if he's like the local young chava getting done for fucking being a yob.
He is.
Joyriding and that.
I bet he was in a nice car though.
Yeah, he's got his big
Anyway,
BMs. Probably why they pulled him out.
Yeah, that's probably why footballers do get it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But they shouldn't in their position. Definitely, well, no one should. But you're daft, and you're in that position doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, let's look forward to the game. And if you've liked this video, please do give it a like. If you're listening, follow us on any podcast platform that you listen to, and on YouTube. Consider subscribing. Alex, are you going to take us out with a Dan Burn dance? See you later.